The Raceparts 750 Formula Championship race gets underway now, and it is without Dave Hodkin, who finished second yesterday. He's not taken up his front row grid position, so it's David Bartholomew on his own at the front of the grid. Yesterday's race winner, Bill Cowley it is, that slots into second position from row 2 of the grid then, as they turn their way through Rich's Corner for the first time. And it's Cowley that gets the lead at the Welton Hairpin. A fantastic start for the man who has been a champion in the past in 750 Formula. There's the number 4 car as well. That's Richard Jenkins in the Shepherd, and it's Cowley that still leads then from Bartholomew in second. Peter Bove in third. I think that's the car going over the grass that belongs to Andrew Kemp, the number 82 car. Side by side for the lead down into Agostini. Can Bartholomew go all the way around the outside? No, I don't think he can. Andrew Kemp is in trouble. He's got his hand in the air, which is a disappointment for him. He was a non-finisher yesterday as well in the first of the weekend races this weekend for these cars. This is the second and final race of the weekend for the Raceparts 750 Formula Championship, and as they come towards Williams and then onto the Bentley Straight, it's Bill Cowley leading then in the Cowley Mark IV from the PRS 1B of David Bartholomew in second place, and Bartholomew having won the last 4 races in the championship at Donington, 2 at Thruxton and Snetterton yesterday. He's going to get the lead back down the Bentley Straight. Yes, he is. So Bartholomew retakes the lead, but Peter Bove has the tow. Can he get past Cowley? No, he can't quite do it as he heads into Brundle that time. So it's Bartholomew from Cowley, from Bove. They've already pulled out a bit of a gap from Chris Goff, number 2, who is in third position, and he was a driver that finished yesterday's race in 6th position, so we'll be pleased to be in 4th place at the start of this one. But Bartholomew, who's been a champion in the past in 2015 in this car, he's raced it occasionally since then, but back for basically a full season this year. It's been shared by Ed Pither and Richard Rothery over the past several seasons, neither of them doing a full campaign though. It's won lots of races, the car, in that time, but never another championship since 2015. And there's Cowley in the Cowley Mark IV, a car designed by his grandfather well over 40 years ago now. So through Wilson they go for the second time. Bove in third place, number 1. Oh, and a challenge going on for 5th place there. That's Jake Doherty, number 5. He's been passed by David Reed into the Wilson hairpin that time, so a change for 5th. And last year's Class B champion Jake Doherty goes down to 6th place. It looks like Christopher Johnson in the Racekits Falcon, number 38, is just behind him. So good scrap going on for sort of 4th position backwards, and it looks like David Reed in the ex-Ollie Collett Racekits Falcons making up another place here. Yes, he is. He is now ahead of Chris Goff as well. So that's a great effort from David Reed, who was last year's top newcomer. Christopher Johnson there in the more conventionally bodied Racekits Falcon, number 38, is there now in 6th place. And Jake Doherty, having dropped back to 7th into the clutches of Richard Jenkins now, the former low-cost front runner. So down the Bentley Straight they go. Good to see Chris Goff out there, driver from Shropshire. Under challenge here, though, from Christopher Johnson in the Racekits Falcon. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Peter Bove. He's still there in 3rd place. A few car lengths behind Bill Cowley, number 77. Cowley, who was 2nd and 3rd at Donington Park in the opening meeting of the season. Turning their way towards Murray's for a second time in this race, and Bartholomew has stretched his advantage. It was 0.3 of a second at the beginning of the lap. It looks like it's more than that now for the man that led the championship coming into this weekend. By only 8 points, actually, over Dave Hodkin, in spite of his strong sequence of results. 3 wins, but Hodkin had also had 4 podiums coming into this weekend. A shame he's not out there for this one. He was 2nd yesterday, but obviously a problem with the car has forced him out here. On to the 3rd lap of the race then. Christopher Johnson has Jake Doherty trying to come back to him. It was not a great last lap for Jake Doherty, the greenkeeper by occupation. And he's just tucked in there behind Johnson now. David Reed, a little bit further up the road, has pulled out a good few seconds over these three. He's set off in pursuit of Peter Bove. David Reed, look at him, he has made a lot of ground, hasn't he? He's sharing that car with James Jeffrey this year. In the background there, you can see the MWR1 DNC of Mark Windley as well. Here's Christopher Johnson trying to find a way past Chris Goff on the way out of Agostina, but a very close scrap between these four cars, disputing fifth position now. Down towards Oggies they go, right-hander. And then it's up to Williams and on to the Bentley Straight once again. 750 Motor Club's 750 Formula enjoying its 75th anniversary this season. It was inaugurated back in 1949, originally for Austin 7 derived cars and running the Austin 7 engine, hence the 750 in the 750 Formula. They later switched to Reliant engines, of course, and for 2 decades or so now they've run this Fiat 1108cc engine, but still the ethos remains as it was. It's for sports prototypes. They run on slicks, and it's really something with quite free regulations for the amateur designer and constructor and engineer. Still this fight going on for fifth place, which Christopher Johnson has found his way to the front of, ahead of Chris Goff now. Doherty and Jenkins then next up. Doherty, who had a second place finish, his best ever result. That came at the end of last season at Alton Park, and of course he drives the SSF that was for so long driven by his grandfather Bob Simpson, who raced in the category for decades. Oh, and Bill Cowley looked to be a bit slow into the hairpin there, or was it Peter Bove that was just later on the brakes? As it was, Bove has come out behind Bill Cowley again. I suspect possibly it was a bit deceptive. I think Bill Cowley was probably braking at the normal points and Peter Bove was braking a bit later, as evidenced by the fact that he went deeper into the corner and came back out behind Bill Cowley. But you can see now the gap that David Bartholomew has got, nearly a second and a half at the start of the lap. If anything, it looks like it might be a bit more than that now as they turn into Agostini once again. 7.5 minutes of this race left to go. We're on to lap 4 here. Best lap of the race has been done by Peter Bove now, who is in third position at the moment. A little bit of a lock-up there from Cowley. And does that give Bove the chance to seize an opportunity? Well, not quite yet. He's still a little bit too far behind to make a move, I would suggest, as they make their way once again down the Bentley Straight. But Bove probably is in a position here where he's starting to pick up the toe. So can he make a move down into Brundle, I wonder? Let's have a look if he dives out. And I don't think he's quite close enough to have really gained the full benefit of the slipstream being given off by the Cowley Mark 4 there. Bove, the number 1, showing that he's the reigning champion. He's now an 8-time champion in 750 Formula, including in each of the past 4 years. And looking to go after the 10 times champion Mick Harris. Needs another 2 to level with Mick, most successful driver in the long history of 750 Formula. But only third in this race, and Bartholomew is going to be tough to beat in the championship this season. I think, look, he's just in the best lap of the race now, a 2:10.024. Not quite as quick as he went yesterday when he was down to a 2:09.664. He actually holds the lap record here, does David Bartholomew, from his championship winning season in 2015 when it was a 2:08.51. Well, David Reed, he has also made up some ground there, and he's got the gap to Peter Bove down to less than 4 seconds now, with 5.5 minutes of this race left to go. So watch out for David Reed. He's actually shown, as you can see with that sort of pink square on the timing screen, as a Class B driver. And in 750 Formula, the class is not based on a different specification of car, but it's based on your driving experience. So if you've not had notable success in the championship in the past, podium finishes, championship top threes, etc., etc., then you are put into Class B, which gives the drivers that have had a bit less experience something to aim for. Jake Doherty was in Class B last season, but because he won it, had podium success as well, he is up to the main class this season. He's not in Class B, and he's made up a place there on Chris Goff, who looked to outbrake himself at Agostini that time. So Jake Doherty goes back up into 6th position, and a few car. Oh, is he going to hold on, Jake Doherty? Because Chris Goff fighting back here. You can see that it's a really close fight between these two, and as they're scrapping, I think it's allowing Christopher Johnson to get away as well in 5th position. Goff here will pick up the tow from Jake Doherty as they head down the Bentley Straight. Look, there's Johnson. He's made quite a good amount of a gap now over Doherty and Goff as they head through Nelson, then down towards the bomb hole. Now they go. This is the fight for 6th position. It's not the biggest field of 750 Formula cars that we have this weekend, sadly. A few not starting after various issues already during the course of the weekend. Oh, and off goes number 4, Richard Jenkins. He was fighting there with Jake Doherty, but now has had an off. So Doherty and Goff survive. Jenkins off onto the grass. We'll see if he can get again, but no, I think he has just about nosed into the barriers, so that's going to be race over, I'm afraid, for Richard Jenkins. Oh, that's unfortunate for Richard. He'll be very disappointed with that. The driver of car number 4, local driver as well from Norwich in the Shepherd RR01B. As we watch the battle for 6th position then, making its way around the Wilson hairpin. Meanwhile, if you look at the timing screen, you can see that David Reed, and there you can see it on circuit now, David Reed, number 31, has got to within half a second of Peter Bove. He's just done the best lap of the race as well. So David Reed now taking the fight to Peter Bove. I think there's only going to be one more lap to go at the end of this one. Out of Oggies towards Williams they go, and Peter Bove has his work cut out here to try to fend off the absolutely flying David Reed. I think David Reed's car, with this super aerodynamic bodywork that the Collets put on it, that really does cut through the air very well along the long straights here at Snetterton. So that's really helping him out. It's a bigger car as well, the Race Kits Falcon. As you can see, there's lots of different interpretations of bodywork. You can see that Peter Bove in the Derby, that he's campaigned for many seasons now, it's a car that's won many championships, has sort of wheel arches, whereas the Race Kits Falcon of Reed has the fully enveloping bodywork all across the car. Green flag's still waving, and I think that's because there's yellow flags because of Richard Jenkins still off the circuit, but I think we'll be able to continue racing all the way up until the end here. There goes Bartholomew in the lead. He goes on to his last lap. There's Cowley, and it's side by side for 3rd now. It's Bove just ahead as they cross the line that time. But is it going to be Bove ahead by the time they get into Rich's corner? It's not, I don't think, because around the outside tries to go David Reed. He runs a little bit wide on the exit though, but I think he has made it through. Can Bove outbrake him into the hairpin? Reed runs wide there at Wilson, and he spins it. Oh, that's disaster for David Reed. It was only a half spin. He controlled it well. He's just got to focus now and try to get back on terms with Peter Bove. But you can see he's lost several car lengths. Well, David Reed has been pushing hard here. If he misses out on the podium, it's not for the want of trying. He was 3rd in yesterday's race, making an all David podium. David Bartholomew, Dave Hodkin and Dave Reed. He started this race 3rd on the grid, but didn't make the best of starts, unfortunately, so he has had to play catch-up. Meanwhile, David Bartholomew, I don't think, has put a wheel wrong. Obviously, Bill Cowney did get ahead at the start, but Bartholomew on the first lap was able to get back up front, back into the lead along the Bentley Straight, and he's not looked back really. He's just gently pulled out a gap over Cowley, who is only 3 seconds or so behind Bartholomew, but at this particular circuit, the PRS so much more well suited than is the Cowley Mark IV, I would suggest, which I think enjoys the twistier tracks like Cadwell Park or Anglesey, somewhere like that. So Bartholomew through the compression of the bomb hole now, out towards the long right-hander at Coram for the final time. As you can see, the clock has counted down to 0. And so it looks like it's going to be another win for David Bartholomew. It's going to be 5 in a row. And that's going to put him in a very healthy position at the halfway point of the championship as they go to Cadwell Park next month. There's the checkered flag. Bartholomew takes the win then. Cowley takes second place. And who's going to be third? Reed's fought back valiantly on the last lap, but he just misses out by less than 1/10 of a second. David Reed it is that takes 4th place. I think it should be Christopher Johnson that's 5th, because he'd pulled out quite a gap over Jake Doherty and Chris Goff, who are still battling over 6th position. Up to the line, though, comes Christopher Johnson. He takes 5th. Jake Doherty 6th. And Chris Goff is going to be in 7th place. Matthew Unwin, I think, a little bit further back in 8th position. Yes, there he is, up to the line now. At the end of a fantastic race for 750 Formula, let's hear from Kieran Mogg.
What a fantastic race and an absolutely dominant drive from David Bartholomew. If we quickly get in here, David, it was a good 4-second lead you had over there by the end of it. How was it from your point of view?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a good race at the beginning, mixing it with Pete and Bill. They looked like they were having a good old tussle behind. Every time I looked, there was a different one of them leading. But yeah, very good, thank you. Quite warm in there. A lot less greasy than yesterday. It was good. Yeah.
And how are you finding track conditions today? Because obviously, like you say, it has got a lot hotter. Is the track sticking a lot more? Are you finding more grip in the corners?
Yeah, there was lots of problems yesterday with it being super greasy, with fuel down and oil down and stuff. So none of those problems today. It was beautiful out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you. Now go to our second place man, Bill Cowley. Bill, a fairly simple drive almost for you, because you were sort of in no man's land for most of it.
Well, I'll push in. Yeah, well, there's not a lot you can do really. I mean, straight line speed differentials, quite a big gap compared to us. Me and Peter are pretty similar, and I was mainly just pushing so hard just to try and keep the gap to Peter. So yeah, but overall made a lot of improvements from yesterday with the handling. Having to drive one-handed around all the fast stuff because it keeps jumping out of 4th. But yeah, overall good weekend.
Other than the jumping out to 4th and having to keep your hand on the gear stick.
Yeah, my arm's killing, to be fair. I mean, is it Ritchie's turn 1? Is it? I don't know what it's called, but going through there one-handed with a car that moves about a lot, it's not ideal. So yeah, but overall positive weekend. We made big steps forward with the handling. Yeah, so happy with that.
Absolutely. Well, good luck for the race later then.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, thanks. And just by an absolute whisker 3rd place, David. Peter, sorry. I do apologise. Peter, that was an epic battle between you two. How was it?
Yeah, it was tiring. Yeah. I was exhausted at the end, but yesterday he beat me by 100th on the line, so it's nice to return the favour today. But it was a good race. Had a few laps with Bill, which was good. And then I managed to hold off Dave, so yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the podium.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much. And heading into the next race now, which I believe I can hear and see, are the hot hatches.